My husband, Nathan, died a year ago. The sudden stroke that took him away from us left a hole that seemed impossible to fill. He wasn't just my husband. He was the one who held our family together and was my partner. Asher, my son, stepped up in ways I didn't expect. He was very mature for his age, even though he was only 24. Even though he was sad himself, he put my health first and made sure I never had to deal with my grief alone. After his father died, Asher became my lifeline. He had always been a kind and caring son. In the kitchen this morning, Asher walked in with something hidden behind his back. He had a big smile on his face. He said, "Good morning, Mom," and leaned in to kiss my cheek. "I have a treat for you." A surprise, I asked, with an interested eyebrow raised. "Go outside." He pushed, and his excitement was contagious. I went with him to the driveway where the early morning sun was shining on a smooth silver car that I knew right away. That convertible, I gasped as I looked at it. It was something I had admired for years, but never dared to dream of owning. In the morning light, it shone and looked too good to be true. "Do you like it?" he asked with a big grin. "Do you like it?" He told her. "It's yours, Mom." Asher said, "It's beautiful, but how did you get it?" "Thanks for everything you've done for me. For us. You deserve this." He became less sure of himself, showing a hint of weakness. "I know you've been unhappy at home. I thought this might make you happy again." I had tears in my eyes. "I have nothing to say to you, Asher. It's too much." His answer was firm. "No, it's not. You've always thought about other people. You need to do something for yourself now." I felt like his words hit home, so I wrapped my arms around him and gave him a tight hug. I whispered, "Thank you," because my voice was shaking. This is very important to me. We drove the car with the top down that night, having the wind blow through our hair. As we drove along well-known roads, we laughed. The sky was a brilliant mix of orange and pink at sunset. I felt lighter in my heart for the first time in months. I didn't just get a car from Asher. He reminded me of what it was like to live, to see the beauty in the world, even though I was sad, because he loved and cared for her. Things that seemed impossible became possible again. As we pulled back into the driveway, Asher looked at me with a serious face. He said quietly, "Mom, I know things have been hard for you. I will always be here for you, but I can't bring your dad back. You're not by yourself." I didn't doubt him. Because Asher loved and supported me no matter what, I was able to move on, carrying Nathan's memory and the hope of better times ahead. As the weeks went by, Asher kept showing me sides of himself that I didn't fully understand before. It was more than just the big car show. Little things that people did for me every day helped me remember that I didn't have to deal with life's problems by myself. It began with simple things. One morning, I stumbled into the kitchen, still sleepy and not ready for the day. Asher was already there. He had on an apron and was cooking pancakes. He winked and put a plate of perfectly fluffy pancakes in front of me. "I thought you could use a break from cooking," he said. I told Asher with a soft laugh, "You're spoiling me." His kindness made me feel very good. "You deserve to be spoiled, Mom." He told her, his voice soft but firm. "Thanks for everything you've done for me. For once, let me take care of you. It wasn't just breakfast." Asher always planned ahead and came up with ways to make my days better. When I decided I didn't want to go through the attic where many of Nathan's things were kept, Asher did it alone. Even though he didn't force me to do anything, he made sure everything was ready for me. When I was ready, I found him putting flowers in a vase in the living room one rainy afternoon. I stopped in the doorway and looked at him for a moment. Plants ? Next to my name. "What's the event?" He looked up and said with a small smile, "No reason. I just wanted to add some color to the house, and I know you love lilies." His kindness made my chest tighten. Asher must remember that Nathan used to bring me flowers for no reason. I said in a soft voice, "You're something else." "I try," he said with his trademark grin, but it wasn't just the way he moved his body. He paid attention to little things that way. He'd bring me a cup of tea and sit with me in silence if he saw me lost in thought and staring out the window for too long. Hearing me moan about a job that was too much, he would take it over and tell me to rest. He would often tell her, "Mom, you don't have to do everything by yourself. I'm here." As the sun went down one night, Asher gave me a thoughtful look as we sat on the porch and watched it. "That's right." Asher told her, "You know you're amazing. Where does that come from?" I smiled at him and asked, "That's just the truth," he said with a shrug. "You've always been so strong, even when things were going badly. I have no idea how you do it." I turned away because what he said made me feel bad. "I told you, I'm not as strong as you think. I sometimes feel like I can barely hold it together." Asher reached out and put his hand on mine. He told her in a soft voice, "You don't have to keep it all together by yourself. You can lean on me. That's why we have families." It moved me a lot that he understood I squeezed his hand. He had a way of making me feel seen, like he really understood how heavy my grief was and how much I had to carry every day. As the weeks turned into months, Asher's unwavering support became what I stood on. He pushed me to get back in touch with life by telling me to leave my comfort zone. He signed us up for a cooking class one day because he thought it would be fun for the two of us to do something together. At first I wasn't sure, but his excitement made me change my mind. During class, I laughed for the first time in what seemed like a long time. Asher never won for following recipes. He often made things up as he went along with the ingredients to keep things fun. When our souffle fell apart in a dramatic way, he looked at me with a fake, sad face. "We might not win any prizes, but at least we'll have a good story." He told jokes that made me laugh so hard my sides hurt. When Asher complimented me, it always caught me off guard and made me feel important in a way I hadn't since Nathan died. That night, Asher stopped in his tracks when he saw me in a dress I hadn't worn in years. I was getting ready for dinner with an old friend. He looked at her and said, "Wow, Mom, you look wonderful." My cheeks got red. I told him to stop and waved him off. "It's just an old dress." He said, "No, really? You look lovely." I thought about what he said all night and it gave me confidence. I didn't know I needed Asher, didn't just say nice things. He joined me on my journey to find happiness again. He planned a surprise trip to a nearby vineyard for one weekend. We walked through the rows of vines trying different blends and laughing at our clumsy attempts to describe the tastes because they knew how much I loved wine tastings. Asher teased, "You have a great taste. I believe we found your true calling," I replied. "Don't quit your day job, wine critic," rolling my eyes but not being able to hide a smile. I didn't expect the time we spent together to heal me in so many ways. Asher's constant love and support reminded me that life still had beautiful and meaningful moments, even when I was sad. Those times made me start to think that happiness was possible again, not in spite of the pain, but because of all the love around me. That night, there was a storm outside, and the wind was howling, shaking the windows. I was finishing up the dishes in the kitchen when all of a sudden the lights went out after flickering twice. "Asher!" I called out, and my voice broke the sudden silence. "I'm here," he said from the living room. The sound of his voice immediately made me feel better. I heard his footsteps again a moment later, and he came through the doorway holding a flashlight. He moved the light beam around the room and said, "It looks like the storm knocked out the power." I said with a soft laugh, "Well, this is cozy." I dried my hands on a towel. "We do have flashlights, though." Asher smiled. "This makes me think of the times when we didn't have power in the winter. Do you remember?" "How did I forget?" I said, with a smile as I thought of it. "You always begged me to pass the time by playing games with you." He said, "Exactly." And his smile turned sly. "Then why not now?" I gave them a raised eyebrow. "What do you mean?" He said, "Hide and seek." And his eyes sparkled in the dim light. "Let's go back to the good old days. It will be enjoyable." I laughed. "Play hide and seek, Asher. We're not kids anymore." "But that doesn't mean we can't act like it for one night," he joked. "Unless you're afraid it will be too easy for me to find you." That was it. Asher knew I would never give up when I was called to do something. "Okay," I said, crossing my arms. "Don't think for a second that I'll make it easy for you." He laughed and started to count down from 10 as I quickly grabbed a flashlight and ran into the dark hallway. The storm outside made the shadows inside the house even stranger. I got down on my knees behind the couch in the den and tried to calm my breathing. "I'm coming, whether you are ready or not." The sound of Asher's voice filled the house, and I couldn't help but laugh at how silly it all was. But it was freeing and fun to let go and enjoy a moment of carefree fun. I could hear his slow, deliberate steps coming toward me, like he was enjoying the hunt. "You know, Mom," he said in a jokey voice, "if you want to stay hidden, you need to do better than this." Putting my hand over my mouth made me laugh as his shadow went by the door to the den. Just as I thought he was going to leave, he turned around and smiled as he shone the flashlight into the room. He said, "Found you," shining his light on me. I laughed as I stood up and said, "Oh, you're too good at this." He said with a smug grin, "Years of practice. You need to find me now." We switched places and I looked for him for a few minutes. He moved so quickly and easily that I couldn't believe it. He snuck out of hiding places before I could catch him. I finally found him. When I opened the closet door in the guest bedroom, he was hunched over in the corner, grinning like he felt bad about it. I laughed and gasped for air as I said, "Caught you." Okay, he said, standing up and raising his hands to show that he was giving up. "I'm sorry I lost." We fell asleep on the couch in the living room, and our laughter could be heard throughout the dark, quiet house. The storm was still going strong outside, but the warmth between us was clear inside. It was like we were taken back in time to a simpler time, and our bond was stronger than ever. I shook my head and said, "You're good at this, but the next time I win, you're on," he said with a laugh. His face softened as he turned to me with the warm smile I'd come to love. "I'm glad we did this. It's nice to feel like yourself again. Thanks." I agreed with him because I knew what he meant. It really is. We use the time to tell stories and remember good times because the power went out for the rest of the evening. Asher leaned back on the couch and looked at me as I told him a story about when he was a little boy who got into trouble. I teased him and pushed his arm. "You were such a pain." He told her, "You were the most patient mom." And his voice was full of love. "I have no idea how you did it." I smiled and shrugged. When you love someone, it's easy to wait. I didn't mean for the words to hang heavy between us, but neither of us broke the moment. Asher reached out and brushed a hair out of my face. "It was a little too long when he touched me," he said quietly. "Mom, you're great." I hope you know that. My cheeks got red from something I couldn't quite put my finger on. Pride, thanks, Asher. You have no idea how much that means to me. The house became quieter as the night went on and the storm subsided. I got a few candles and Asher helped me light them. Their warm glow made the room look soft and golden. Up until very early in the morning, we sat on the couch and laughed and talked. I felt truly at peace for the first time in a long time. His steady care and presence reminded me that there was still light in life, even when things were at their darkest. That night, as I fell asleep, I thought about how close we'd grown, not just as mother and son, but as two people who are bound by an unbreakable bond as they go through life's challenges together. The storm outside had died down, and the rain was now just a light patter against the windows. As Asher and I sat back on the couch and enjoyed the peace after playing hide-and-seek, the flickering candles cast long shadows on the walls. He put out his arm toward the remote and said, "Let's watch a movie. Something easy. Not scary, I've had enough of the rush for one night." I had a quiet laugh. "I agree. What about something romantic?" His eyebrow went up to show that he was surprised. "You want to start dating?" I lightly touched his arm as a joke. "Don't look so shocked. I enjoy love stories just like everyone else." He picked an old love story that I hadn't seen in years, but had always loved after going through the choices. As the movie started, the room became pleasantly quiet, and the sound of the rain mixed with the words on the screen. At first, there was a good amount of space between us, but as the story went on, Asher moved closer. It didn't bother me much. Even when he was a kid, he liked being close, and having him around was comforting. When an emotional part of the movie came up, he leaned in and put his arm around my shoulders. "Is this okay?" His voice was soft and close to mine when he asked. I wasn't sure why his question made my heart beat faster for a second. I smiled at him and said, "Of course, beautiful." It was true. His hug was strong but gentle, a gesture that said a lot without words. If he was a little boy and hurt his knee or had a bad dream, he would come to me for comfort. But now there was something different. Something about the way he touched me with his fingers lightly running along my arm stayed with me. "I think of the main character when I see you," Asher said all of a sudden, and as he looked at me, his voice was thoughtful. "Me? In what way?" I asked, with a shocked blink. "She's strong." He said it plainly. "She keeps going even when things don't go her way. She loves people very much and never gives up on them." His words sat on top of me like a blanket and made me choke up. "Thanks for the nice comment, Asher. I may not be as strong as you think, though." He told her, "You are," in a firm but gentle voice. "You're still here after all that." "You are amazing." He gave me a soft kiss on the cheek before I could answer. Even though the act was kind and innocent, it made me feel warm in a way I couldn't quite explain. When I looked at him, I was startled, but his face stayed calm and his eyes were full of sincerity. I started, "Asher," but I wasn't sure what to say next. He quickly stopped me and said, "You don't have to say anything. I really care about you and want you to know it. I want to be here for you because you've always been here for me." I couldn't find the right words, so I leaned into his embrace and put my head on his shoulder. We were both no longer interested in the movie as it went on. I really liked how his arm around me and his body against mine made me feel grounded. I didn't want the moment to end. As the credits started to roll, Asher moved a little and turned to face me. He said in a soft voice, "Thank you for tonight. I don't remember the last time I was this happy." "Neither do I told him, meeting his eyes. "Asher, you've helped me a lot and I will never be able to repay you." He told her with a small smile, "You don't have to pay me back. I want you to be glad." The movie was forgotten for a while as the rain slowed down to a light drizzle. The air between us was charged, not with awkwardness but with a knowledge that we didn't say out loud. Asher put his hand on mine and traced small, soothing circles with his thumb. "Mom, you're my everything," he said, breaking the silence with a teary voice. "Without you, I'd be lost." I got tears in my eyes when he spoke those words, and I cupped his cheek and brushed a hair off of his face. I told Asher in a whisper, "I'm so lucky to have you." My voice was shaking. "You're also my everything." We felt like we couldn't fully express how we felt because of the weight of the moment. But his steady look and soft touch gave me peace I hadn't felt in months. It was more than just being mother and son. It was a bond that went beyond words. We stayed on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms as the rain stopped and the candles went out. I knew I would always remember that moment as a reminder that love can heal and bring us back to life, even when things look the worst.